Hello, believers, non-believers, and everyone in between. You're listening to Stories with Sapphire. I am Sapphire Sandalo. Now get cozy and open your mind because it's story time. There it is. Hello? What's going on? Hello. Welcome to Stories with Sapphire Live as I am struggling to fix my microphone. How is everyone doing? Yeah, usually I don't have the thing because it gets in my face. Anyways, hi Ruby the Dragon, Goose, Howl at Me, Aina Sharma, I Do Gotcha, Sunny DV, Versa, Noi 4020, 4290, Random Punk, Drew C, DJ Gao, Alicia, Cringe Edits, Miss True Ty. How are y'all doing? Welcome to Stories with Sapphire Live. This is the live stream that I do every Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Can you hear my chair creaking? This is where we get to hang out live. I get lots of emails, and they can't all make it into the podcast or the YouTube channel. So this is my time to read them and hang out with you. So if you ever want to send me an email, you can send it right here. StoriesWithSapphire@gmail.com. While we're still waiting for people to trickle in, I'd love to share something really cool that happened recently. Maybe a couple weeks ago, I had this very vivid dream. And there's dreams that I have where they feel beyond real. And it's usually when there are like entities or dead people in the dream. And it's really hard to explain because I know that like dreams feel real, but these feel even more real than that. And I had this one dream where I was standing in my parents' house and I was looking into their garage. They had the door to their garage was open. And I was looking at the doorway and this shadow figure walked past the doorway. And when I saw it, my entire body sort of felt like it was being electrocuted. Like it was kind of like a painful fear. Like I was cold. I felt like I was being shocked, like pins and needles all over. And I was just like I had never felt that feeling before in my life. And then it freaked me out. And then in the dream, I was trying to go to bed and then I closed my eyes in the dream and I'm laying there and then I feel that feeling again. And then I think, oh, the shadow figure is standing next to my bed. And when I woke up from this dream, I remember thinking, I feel like this dream was supposed to teach me what it feels like when these figures are around. Isn't that cool? And then I talked to my friend Randy about it and she agrees. Apparently she learns stuff all the time in dreams and is like healing people in dreams. So it's a very real thing. And I don't know if anyone in the chat has experienced anything similar to that, but I thought that was really cool. I feel like most of my like communication with the other side is through my dreams. I think partly because it's less scary for me. I'm braver in my dreams. And I'm really good at lucid dreaming. So I think that's why it happens in my dreams a lot. But I'm working on getting communication outside of that. All right, y'all ready for your first story? Oh, ate kaya mo makapagbasa ng Tagalog? Okay, I think that's Tagalog, which I'm learning Cebuano. Dili naka sulti ko. Like I still can't speak well. Let's see. What did you say? So, ate, kaya mo makapagpa. Can you read Tagalog? Is what I guess. Is that what you're saying? That would be cool if that was right. Because it's interesting. There's so many similarities between Tagalog and Cebuano, but it is so different. Tagalog has so many more syllables and conjugations. Cebuano's a lot simpler. And there's there's also a lot of Spanish in Tagalog too, but ooh, Slenderman's kneecap says, yes, I've woken up from a dream where I was fighting someone and then I suddenly felt like I was being watched. Ooh, spooky, spooky. Oh, Sasha Banks says, yes, that is what it says. Okay, cool. Any Cebuanos in the chat? How would I say that? Cebuano ta. I'm still so bad at it. Quinta si Cebuano ba? I don't think that's right. All right, let's get into our first story. And this is kind of cool. It's from someone whose last name is the same name as my grandpa. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, grandpa. Hi, Grampy. All right, here we go. Hi, Sapphire. Been a long-time fan for a while. My name is Juan. I'm from Mexico. And after the lucid dreaming episode, I kind of decided to share some unexplained thing that happened in my life. So sometimes I have dreams that predict the future. A few years back, I had a dream I was in a big building, walking along a hallway, guided by a man I didn't know. He was telling me about the place, how I was going to enjoy the place, etc. I keep looking around, and I saw the logo of a school with a bear paw. Then I woke up. Honestly, at the moment, I didn't think much of it. Fast forward a few weeks, and I got a job interview for a position at a university to work as a teacher. I had never went to the campus before, nor was it a well-known place, but I stopped when I saw the logo. A bear paw. Then it hit me. I had already been there somehow in my dream. A not-so-happy future dream instance I had. I dreamed of a room with some close friends. We were just hanging out. Then they started to move away slowly, like if I was zooming out on them. I tried to call for them not to leave me, but all I got back was hissing like a snake. And then I was alone. Just me, in the dark. A few months later, I realized how they really were, and I stopped hanging out with them. I wasn't sad. It was like I was ready for the separation, like I had already gone through the pain of not having them in my life. I don't know if it's prophetic dreaming, intuition, or my brain just realizing things I didn't want to see while awake. I felt like sharing that with you. Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Juan. I love that story. And I also I believe, has it happened multiple times? Twice is a lot. That's kind of cool. Dreams are definitely not random. Oh my gosh, Iva Trees, hi! Everyone say hello to Iva Trees, horror movies and beyond, and go check out her YouTube channel. She does amazing work. If you're a fan of horror movies and you want to deep dive with other creators, get to know behind the scenes facts, Iva Trees is just a super dope person, and thank you for joining. Everyone say hi. Oh, also Iva Trees is in the podcast episode that went up today. Available wherever you listen to podcasts. And she's amazing. So go subscribe. Okay. Let's see. Which one should we read next? Ooh, that one looks a little long. Maybe we can save that one. That one might be good. Sorry, I hear whistling in my house. I know it's my husband, but random whistling is always creepy. All right, here we go. This is from Aldrin. Hello, Ate Sapphire. I am a big fan of yours and have been binge listening to your own podcasts, which I just found. I'm also an avid listener of the Something Scary podcast. Y'all really helped me through the COVID quarantine, so thank you. I'm just here to drop my own real story, which happened back in mid 2017, but still affects me today. So the year was 2017, and I was studying engineering in a university in Intramuros, Manila. The place alone had a lot of history and a lot of paranormal stories. I was staying in a dorm 2 blocks from uni, and my ex-girlfriend back then was staying in a dorm a block away from our uni, the opposite way from mine. Back then, classes could go on up to 9 p.m. Grabbing dinner and doing other stuff with our friends sometimes leaves us walking back to our dorms at midnight, if not later. On a particularly busy night, our circle of friends decided to go to a study cafe. Imagine Starbucks, where you can order cup ramen and it's open 24/7 for cramming or reviewing students. So we went there to go study for our final exams. It's about 2:30 a.m. and when everyone was spent, we decided to go back to our dorms. So we packed everything and went our separate ways. Being from the same area, I walked my ex back to her dorm. Walking that late isn't really scary since it's pretty safe in our area. I dropped her off and started walking back to my dorm. I put on music and started walking when suddenly the light post in front of me started flickering. Having lived in the area for half a year, I paid no attention to it because old light posts are supposed to do that when the bulbs are almost out, right? Walking slowly as a sleep-deprived, running out of energy student, I was taking my time, not rushing my movements. Also, the morning breeze was quite nice. I just enjoyed it. Then someone tapped me on the shoulder. It was heavy, and I could feel like the palm of this person. In my head, I was thinking that, I'm going to get robbed. So I turned around whilst feeling this hand still grabbing on my shoulder, and a gust of wind blew right on my face. No one was there. Not being able to comprehend what happened, it took me a second, and when it finally clicked, I full on ran back to my dorm. I've never ran that fast in my life, ever. While I was running, these light posts I'm passing kept flickering, and when I finally got to my dorm, my roommate startled to how frantic I am. However, this is not the end of the story. After that, things went back to normal. My ex and I broke up months after. Then I started noticing the frequency of how many lights on light posts would flicker near me. Again, I pay no attention because old lights are supposed to do that when they're old. But it kept happening everywhere I went. And it only does that on the light posts that's near me or near when I'm walking in the light they're shining. But I forgot all about it. Maybe I got used to it. It just all came back to me when my now wife mentioned it. She told me, "Isn't it weird that everywhere we go, lights start to randomly flicker?" I dismissed it, but I know what she means. She is not the biggest fan when it comes to the paranormal, and I never told her my story. What's weird is she mentioned it right after I listened to the spirit keeping garden spirit episode. Now I tried for 2 days walking while filming myself, and it hasn't happened. I tried getting evidence, but it seems it doesn't work that way. I'm not particularly afraid of it. For me, it just happens. Also, now I know that maybe it's my guardian spirit. I don't even know if my experiences are good enough to be told. Nevertheless, thank you for making me think that sometimes things are never just coincidences. Ooh, I do love this story. Thank you, Aldrin. I don't think that's a coincidence that after you listen to the Guardian episode, you realize the lights were flickering. I do think there's probably like energies around you. And it's either trying to actively get your attention or because there's all of these energies around you, it's affecting the lights. But it's weird, it's only happening with the light posts, not like other lights. I don't know. Bad horror movie Rex. How bad of a horror movie. I love that. All right. Let's see. How are we on time? Prefer night. You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to do the long one. This one is from Clementine. Dear Sapphire, I recently started listening to your Stories with Sapphire podcast. I think I'm a believer, but I'm also kind of a skeptic. I've never experienced anything so scary that is enough proof for me to believe, but I'm also kind of a scaredy cat. And I have some stories to share with you. I don't know if they are really paranormal, but they're just some odd things that have happened in my 21 years of living. The first story takes place at my grandma's house. At my grandma's house, my uncle and his family also lived there, and my grandma would take care of me and my brother while my parents went to work. So I was 14 at the time, sleeping in my little cousin's room, and she was sleeping in her parents' room, which was just down the hall. I had woken up and was getting ready, putting on my makeup, looking at the mirror, and to my left, the door was slightly open, probably about 4 inches. And I swear, I saw a black shadow walk by. At first, I thought maybe it was my little cousin who had woken up and gone downstairs. But then after a while, I realized I didn't hear any footsteps go down. And I could feel that I was actually alone upstairs the whole time. So I ran downstairs. My aunt asked what was wrong, and I told her, and she was like, "No wonder you seem so panicked," and said maybe it was my eyes playing tricks on me. And I kind of agreed. My grandma's house isn't known for anything paranormal, so I feel confused. My eyes haven't played tricks on me like that ever since or before that, so I don't know what that was. The next story takes place at my cousin's house. I would sleep over at her house almost every day because we went to the same school, so her parents would also just drop me off at school since my parents couldn't take me. But every single time I slept there, I would get really bad sleep paralysis. Every single time. It was so bad to the point I never wanted to go back there. One time, when I had sleep paralysis, I saw a woman staring outside the window. But she wasn't scary. She looked like a nice lady. But I was still scared. Another time, I saw a man standing over me, staring at me, and he had a very creepy face, like the uncanny valley type where it looks human, but you can tell they aren't. Another time, this was a dream, I dreamt that my cousin who lived in the house, I dreamt that my cousin was being dragged into her closet by an evil entity. But my cousin and her family have never experienced anything paranormal in their house, so I don't know what was going on with all these dreams. Sometimes I still have nightmares of sleeping over at their house and experiencing it all over again. The last story, my grandpa passed away from COVID. He passed away alone in the hospital. My grandma wasn't able to be with him when he passed. I always felt so bad that he didn't have anyone with him. He and my grandma used to live in the U.S. but had moved back to Mexico. That's where he passed away. My family is Catholic, and my grandpa was very, very religious. He had so much faith. I've never met anyone else with so much faith like him. I've had some dreams about him. I've had a dream where I was at my grandma's house here in the U.S., and I was playing outside, and my grandpa was standing in the doorway looking outside, and he was smiling and was so happy. That was the happiest I'd ever seen him, and that's all I remember. In other dreams, I see him alive, and I'm crying so much because he's alive, and I thought he was gone. Last year, before the Day of the Dead, I had a dream that he had come visit my family. Again, at my grandma's house, and all my family was there, and they were telling me that he had come to visit us for the Day of the Dead. I was so happy. I haven't had any more dreams about him. I feel like I haven't really been able to process his death. It just feels like he's living in Mexico, and I haven't seen him in a while because he hasn't come to visit. Me and my grandpa weren't close, but I grew up with him, and he was my grandpa. Sometimes I feel like because I wasn't close to him, I'm not able to grieve about him. I never told my family about my dreams. I feel like maybe he was trying to communicate with me that he was okay in the afterlife. Those are my stories. Feel free to share them in your podcast if you'd like. But I'd like to know your opinion. I've always been an anxious kid ever since I was very little. Do you think maybe I can sense things others can't? I'm not sure. I haven't had any other paranormal experiences. I haven't sensed anything around me since those times when I was 14. I want to know more about myself and my spiritual abilities if I possess any. But I'm conflicted because my family is very religious. Me, on the other hand, I don't know where I fit in. I don't consider myself a practicing Catholic like my family. Let me know what you think and if you have any advice. Sincerely, Clementine. Wow. Well, first of all, thank you, Clementine, for sharing that. That's a very common thing that I see in a lot of emails. People who have, specifically, it's usually a Catholic family, but they feel very drawn to the paranormal and things like that. And here's the thing, in my opinion, you can be a Catholic and integrate these things into your life. Because when you think about Catholicism, even though they don't straight up say that they believe in ghosts and all these things, what are saints? Like, saints are people that lived, and you talk to them. I mean, that is communicating with the dead, is it not? Jesus was a person, a human at one point, and when you pray to him, you are talking to the dead. So there's so much more. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It's not mutually exclusive. You don't have to not be Catholic in order to embrace the paranormal, because Catholicism is paranormal as hell. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of, I guess, explaining that to your family. And also, you don't, and maybe this is controversial, but you also don't need to explain. You can have your own private stuff that you do, stuff that you believe in. You don't have to believe or practice everything that your family does. You know, do the stuff that makes sense to you and leave the stuff that doesn't. I don't know. That's just like where I'm at. I feel like, I don't know. I'm all for, like, F it, do your own thing. But I also understand, like, for some people, it's not as easy. Does that make sense? I hope that helped. I don't know if that helped. You know what, y'all? I just realized I don't have my cards with me. I keep forgetting the cards. At the end of every live, I do a card reading for everyone. But my cards are in the other room. Ivatry says, paranormal scares me. However, it's hard to believe because I never seen a ghost. Yeah, and I get it. I think, I will say, I think that paranormal TV and fictional horror movies have shaped so much about what people think ghosts are that whenever anyone says, do you believe in ghosts, I always have to ask them first, what do you think a ghost is? You know what I mean? Because what it really comes down to, like, seeing a full apparition like it is in the movies, that's incredibly rare. That's actually usually not even how a ghost will show up. Ghosts will, more often than not, they will appear in your third eye. So, like, I could be looking here, but I see it, like, I'm visualizing it, like, in my head. Like, it'll, like, pop into my head. Or they'll show up in your dreams, or they'll show up in signs. There are a lot of different ways that spirits show themselves. But the thing is, it's just like a language. If you don't speak the language, if you don't understand the language, then you're not going to hear it, the messages, when it's around, So there's stuff going on all around all the time. But if you're not looking for it, then you just won't notice it. And that's sort of where I'm at. Rainy Days asks, what about practicing witchcraft while still being religious? Is that okay? Well, yeah, I mean, Wicca is a religion that is witchcraft. I guess it depends on, like, what kind of witchcraft you're talking about. There's, like, what I guess, like, what do you mean religious? Because there's a lot of different religions. And Wicca. is a religion that is witchcraft. But not all witchcraft is Wicca. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm a huge advocate for doing, practicing and believing in the thing that like rings true to you. And I can't tell you what that is. I can only tell you what rings true for me. And as a kid, Catholicism just never really vibed with me. And for me, I just always felt, even as a child, I was like, I feel like this religion hates women. But the thing is, it's like, but that's not the religion itself. It's everything that humans have imposed on the religion. But I think it's so murky for me that I can't even, it's hard for me to separate. But the stuff that really sings to my soul is just like general magic. That's not how you would say that. But like divination and like learning about magic and ancestral worship, spirit communication, stuff like that. I don't know. I just feel like everyone, we're not here for a long time, and we should all be embracing the things that really ring true for us. So whatever that is for you. So if learning about witchcraft speaks to your soul, then do that. If being Catholic speaks to your soul, then do that, because if you do something out of fear or out of obligation, then what's the point? Then you're not being true. And then you're just going to have all of this, like, all these storms inside of you. And it's like, why? What's the point? Wow, welcome to my TED Talk. Like, what am I even talking about? Okay, I'm reading these comments. All right, everyone. Well, that is the end of the live stream. I will have another stream tomorrow. I stream on Thursdays as well now, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that one is a vibe stream. That's what I'm calling them right now, where I read stories from some books that I have. And it's set to lo-fi chill music that my husband wrote, and it's very good. So yeah, it's just like if you want to come chill. Anyways, well, thank you for sticking around, Mikey C, Andromeda, Noi 4290. I love SKZSM. These are so hard. Chi, Rainy Days, to Horror Movies and Beyond, Da Hyun's Girlfriend. Oh my god, I'm burping. Happy Baby. Dark Phoenix, Inhuman, Riley, Slaya, the Animal Kid, Angela Nguyen, Mrs. Clorox, Brendan Riley. Thank you all so much for joining. And if you want to send something to the stream, right here, oopsies, Stories with Sapphire, and storieswithsapphire@gmail.com. And don't forget to listen to the podcast episode that went up today featuring Ivatrees Littles, who is Horror Movies and Beyond. Don't forget to subscribe to her channel as well and check out her. She's also on Instagram. I want to say possibly Twitter, but is anyone using Twitter anymore? I don't. But yeah, follow her everywhere and check her out on the